Extensions, body aches, and ergonomics are just some of the topics we uncover today on Salon Edition Podcast. Cailtin E is a Virginia Beach, Virginia extension artist, stylist, Hairtalk educator, and my first guest. Join me in welcoming Cailtin.
Well, thank you for having me to your space, and thank you for being on my podcast. This is my good friend Cailtin, and I'm so excited that you are hopping on here and doing this with me. So thank you.
Thank you for driving all the way up here this morning.
No worries. It was actually great traffic, so that was totally fine. So Cailtin and I actually met like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
4 years, 5 years.
It's definitely before the pandemic.
Yeah. So like 2019, 2018.
One of those years. 2019, I think.
2019. I think it's 2019 too, because that's when I was coming out your way quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we actually met at a hair show, which is super fun.
Chicago.
Chicago ABS.
Yeah.
And you actually Instagrammed me,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Who is this chick? Like, why is she like?" But sure, like I'm totally like down to like meet up. You're like, "Hey, do you want to like catch up or whatever? I'd like to see you at the Babe booth." And I was like, yeah, okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand like completely why at the time, but then you like popped in. I was like, oh my God, that's Siren Stylist. And I was like, I know exactly who you are. It was super funny. But yeah, so we met, and then that year we kept meeting.
Yeah.
So I was coming out your direction.
I was in Denver at that time. I lived in Denver for 4 years. I was doing extensions out there. And then you were traveling doing Babe classes out there, but I already knew that I was moving out to Virginia Beach, so I was like trying to make any connection out here, and I saw that you were at the same place I was, and I was actually interested in the salon you were working at, and I was like, oh, I need to meet this girl and maybe get like a little in, but that I didn't realize how far away Suffolk was from Virginia Beach at the time.
We're like really like BFE at that point. Like we're out there compared to like Virginia Beach.
Yeah, so I didn't know where I was looking at that time, but it worked out because now we have a great friendship.
I know. I was like super stoked. So every time I was out in Denver, I would just like would like call you and be like, hey, I'm flying in. Sometimes you came and actually got me from the airport, which is super fun. But we always find a way to, have a meal or whatever and chill out a little bit. So that was really cool. And now that was the start of a beautiful friendship. And I really am so glad that you're like this close because it just makes me happy. So you have a great energy.
Well, thanks.
So I actually just want to know a little bit about you. Like, how did you start doing hair? Like, what brought you to like the hair industry?
Well, I wanted to do hair since I was in 6th grade.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Like, you knew.
I knew.
Yeah.
Like, and I had my whole, like, career path, like, mapped out, like, how I was going to get there. I was like, since middle school, I was like, I'm going to go to, it's called KCTC, which is a technical center in the county that I grew up in. So I was able to do my cosmetology training in high school, starting my senior year, and then I had a year prior because they didn't want you taking up too much of your high school time.
Why not?
Learning an actual trade. So, and you have so many hours that are required. So I did that, and I was behind the chair at 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Like, how did you find a salon? How did you like?
So I grew up in a really small town. In Sparta, Michigan, and my honestly, the guy I was dating at the time, his mom was like, hey, she had 2 cousins that owned salons, and she kind of like pointed me in their direction, and she's like, you should check out Kim's salon, you should check out Jeannie's salon, and Kim's salon wasn't hiring, but Jeannie's was, and it was awesome because Jeannie and I are still like, she's like considered one of my best friends till this day. And I worked with her for 6 years up until I moved to Colorado. And it's just a really good like mentorship. Like she, it wasn't just, handing someone foils. Like it started out as that, but it was like, okay, now I want you to put the foil, you're going to foil with me now, and you're going to try to keep up with me, like, and do the quality work I'm doing. So it was a really great mentorship. And then, by the end of that 6 years, I was helping manage the salon, doing inventory, helping some of the mentorship with the junior stylists in the salon, and I learned a lot. It was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the apprenticeship sort of thing, or the high school thing?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was like a really great way to like be introduced without?
Oh yeah. I mean, it cost me $500.
No way.
Like
Okay, so just so y'all know, like, if you're going to go to cosmetology school, it is not $5,000, $500. It is like 20 grand.
Yeah,
Like the going rate still.
I can't even say me. My parents paid for it.
Yeah.
It was like $500 for me to go to school. And since I've invested a lot of money into my education outside of it, which I feel like is more valuable, because when you're in cosmetology school, the main goal for them is just to teach you how to pass a test.
Yeah.
And you're introduced to a lot of basics, and there's a lot of great things about it, and it is your foundation. But like ultimately, like what has made me successful is the additional education that I've spent outside of it through either with the stylists or a brand. So that's been for me, I think it was worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So then what specifically drew you, since you do a lot of hair extensions, I mean, we see a lot of them on the walk, so what specifically drew you to extensions? Like, how did you get into that?
So back when I was still living in Michigan, I was young, and you cut a pixie cut on somebody, and then you're like, I want my hair really short.
Yeah.
And then I cut my hair off, and then I'm like, oh, well, I regret this.
There's like a whole instant regretting. Like, I mean, well, maybe it takes like a week, but you're just like, wow, that was dumb.
Yeah. And there was a girl in my salon, her name was Trisha, that would wear a lot of extensions, and she like would do like clip-ins, and she would actually sometimes like glue like the wefted track in. And so I did that a couple times with her help and all of that. And then we did clip-in sets and stuff. And so I was doing that. And then some of my clients, they were kind of getting curious because they'd see me with short hair, then have long hair the next time they come in, and they're like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, I kind of want to do that. And so at the time, we're just going to like wig shops and buying like wefted hair.
Yeah.
And it was kind of inconsistent in the quality, the color, what was available. And so I was seeking something that was a little more professional for my clients, which is when I got certified in hotheads, hair extensions, tape-ins, because one of our distributors, Premier, which puts on the Chicago show, was offering that. So we went ahead and did that at our salon. And then I remember that class date was the day that I told Jeannie I was moving to Colorado.
Was she like super heartbroken?
I don't know.
No.
I think I was in a long distance relationship with my husband, so like we weren't married yet, but like I think there was always that like possibility looming that I might be leaving at some point. So so I moved out to Colorado, and I worked at Glow Extension Salon in Denver, and we did all extensions. Worked with Hairtalk, who I work for now as an educator, and some other brands, and we just we did all extensions, so tapes and fusions at first. And then as like the big like weft phenomenon happened, we started getting into wefts as well. But so that's where my career then, like, I didn't have to like go through this whole like, okay, I'm going to build a clientele and like dump off all my color clients and do just straight extension. It was just build up my extension clientele, which then I was able to do here as well when I went to Virginia Beach.
Yeah. And you're certified actually in multiple companies, multiple methods.
Yeah, I think I have like over 10 certifications.
That's amazing. You're like a freaking rock star.
I'm like, well, and I try, like, I mean, I want to know like everything. And the thing is it's like there's so much education out there and so much knowledge with hair extensions that it's like, in order to be an expert at this, like I need to know like what everybody is offering.
All the things,
And I need to be familiar with how to remove something. Even if I don't do that with it, I need to know how to remove it. Yeah. Because if someone's going to come to me to do something that I think is a safer option, I need to at least know how to get that out of their head.
Yeah.
Or know why.
Yeah. Like why that was done to begin with.
Yeah, and why I shouldn't, why what I'm doing is a better option, or why that method, is unsafe, or even better. Like, so I now
it gives you like a whole like box of things to choose from at that point, instead of just like, oh, this is the only thing I know. It's like, okay, I could pull this rabbit out of here or this out of here because I understand how all of that works.
Oh yeah. And especially with wefting, like, girl, like like the thing is with wefting is I describe it like you put crochet.
Oh yeah.
Like, or knit, like it's there's so many ways to make a blanket.
Yep.
And there's so many different foundations. So when I am actually, assessing how I want to like the client's hair, I use so many different methods to apply a weft to someone's head that I know, like, depending on their hair type, their lifestyle, there's a method that I'm like, yeah, this ain't going nowhere. I'm like, if they live down in the Outer Banks, like, I'm gonna put them in that, so that way they're not like my wefts, just out of like a sense of security, like, but it all depends on the person. And I think there's something to be said about, being multi-certified, even in one single method. Because, there's different ways to, apply tapes, different ways to apply keratin. It's all valuable.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think that's one thing that I'm so glad that our industry is appreciating more, is there's so many different options and so many different things, and you should absolutely go and learn all those different things so you have like more of a base.
Yeah.
You can just, like I said, pull a rabbit out of a hat and it's okay, because like all the other things around it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I love that. So what are some like maybe like physical challenges or things that you would notice in our industry that maybe we could do different or fix or whatever? I know you had a little story about that.
Oh yeah. So one thing I think, I'm very, I guess, passionate about is like my physical health. That is a big priority in our household. And behind the chair is a very physical job. I heard someone like say that we're like athletes, and I don't think that's true. Like,
I mean, we have marathon days.
Right.
But
like, we're not athletes. I mean, yes, like we need to be training like an athlete, I feel like, in order to, maintain our health and longevity behind the chair, because there's a lot to it. But like, I'm like, I don't necessarily say because we're not like, burning like thousands of calories, like, doing a haircut. But I mean, the shoulders, for real, like shoulders, hips, feet, like those are huge. I mean, of course, obviously wear the right shoes.
Yeah.
Which is hard. I know a lot of stylists, you want to look cute.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is we want to look cute. We want to have like like, especially in the summer and it's hot. Like, I don't know like where y'all are, but like Virginia is hot.
Yeah.
We are humid.
Yeah.
It is awful. And so when we come in, we want to like, in our sundress or like, whatever. And so usually what goes with the sundress? Sandals, flip-flops, all the things. But then like, we're really destroying our feet, our legs.
Right.
And
Birkenstocks have literally been like the best. So like, I feel like
they're enough cute to like.
Yeah. Well, and I'm like, they better never go out of style. And if they do, I guess I'm going to be that hairstylist. It don't matter at this point. I'm in my 30s. Hopefully by that time I'm in my 40s that nobody cares. They're like, oh, it's okay. She's just, she's
earned her right to.
Yeah, she can wear her comfortable footwear. But like, your feet are huge. I mean, literally even like last night, because the weather has been getting nice here, and I haven't been wearing the most appropriate footwear because I want to wear dresses and cute stuff and run around like a crazy woman. I mean, I had that those like little balls that's like the little nubs on them.
Oh yeah. And
I was like rolling my foot because my arch was hurt. It was also probably too like a combination between like training, and also like
just standing
improper footwear. And then even too, like I was wild with like those like little gun, like the guns.
What are they called? I don't know, like massage guns or whatever.
Yeah. And I had that on my foot, like.
Oh, nice. That felt good.
Oh, it's amazing.
I bet.
Like and it helps a lot.
I did that on my back once, like around my hip area.
Oh
yeah. I don't think I was prepared for how good that would actually feel.
Yeah, no.
Like you feel a little beat up afterwards sometimes, but like. Yeah. I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize that I was like in so much pain there. Like it was straightened.
Oh yeah, no, they're like the best. I feel like every hairdresser should own one of those little guns, and if they don't, like they need to.
They need to invest in one like tomorrow, please.
Yeah, I got one on Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah,
so we got a good deal on it, and we use it all the time. Yeah. Your feet are huge. Get pedicures, things like that. That's what I had a client that worked at a pizza shop. And she always would tell me, like, you need to take care of your feet. Like, you're on your feet all the time. Like, doing regular maintenance on them. Like, even, like pedicures and stuff. And making sure, like, they're, like, clean. And all of that is huge. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you faced any like physical injuries yourself from like behind the chair or anything?
Yeah, so I had, and it's funny because it's like your behind the chair injuries aren't like a momentous occasion.
Right.
Like it just happens over time. I remember it was like the year I got married, so I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking back when I look at my wedding photos, I'm always like, oh, if I couldn't work out then, and I don't like,
like I did not feel my best.
Yeah, but like it was still amazing.
Yeah.
But I literally like, so my spine got so misaligned.
Oh.
I was seeing, I forget what it's called. It's just Dio. Is what
Okay.
the like? It's like she's a doctor of something like orthopathology or something. I don't know. Like it's bad. Like I don't know what it's called, but they're amazing. So they kind of like a chiropractor and like your primary care physician.
Oh.
And so what ended up happening, why I ended up seeking one of these out was because I was experiencing like this like chest pain, like it was super tight, almost, and sometimes it was uncomfortable to breathe.
Oh wow.
And it was like really weird. And I couldn't do like it sounds. I mean, I don't know. Everybody can do push up, but I couldn't do a push up.
Yeah.
Like, and that was not normal for me.
Yeah.
Like, I've been free active my whole life, so
Yeah.
I can always even in like, but even like like on your knees, like girl push up. Like I couldn't I just couldn't go down, and what the doctor said when I called my insurance and they signed me up with this woman is because my spine got so misaligned, and it like kind of like torqued my hips and my shoulders, so I was so like off.
Yeah.
And especially like with what we do with keratin extensions, extensions in general, I'm right-handed. It was this that shoulder that kind of got funky. You're reaching here, you're going like
coming here, and then you're always, it's just repetitive.
It's repetitive. Even you could do a fusion application, you're doing that, I mean, a full head like 100 200 plus times, like and it's you get like really stiffened. It really messed up, and I wasn't being really at that time too, like I wasn't being great about working out regardless,
right? Which is so funny because like all I know about you like for like working out is like you are a beast. Like I'm not even kidding. Like Caitlin is like literally like she is dedicated.
You don't have to say that.
No, you really are. You're a beast.
I go through seasons.
I love so last time I was in here when you did my hair, you were like, I'm jump roping, and I'm like, no freaking way. But like if you think about even just jump roping, that's so much exercise.
It is.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like you're always doing something somewhere, and I love that about you. I really do, and I like you inspire me a lot because like I am not somebody that loves to work out, but I do like you when you start talking. I like it like energized again. So when you talk about jump roping and everything, it's like, dang, I should do something cool. It's like I started looking at roller skates.
Oh yeah,
I love roller skates.
Oh, that's fun though. Yeah, you have to like it, and I think that's the problem. Is that season in my life where I wasn't like doing as much exercising as I should have been.
Yeah,
is we switched gyms. And I didn't love the gym I was at. And so if I don't love the environment I'm going into, I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And that was a problem because then I've been doing yoga since I was like 14.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to yoga. And that for me is like, no matter what, like I finish my workouts with at least 10 minutes of yoga. Like
good deep stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because it really moves your body like in ways that like you don't really think to always move your body. And so I use there's an app called Down Dog, and it's like awesome. It's like so cheap. Like it's like $25 a year.
No way.
And you can do like 10-minute classes, you can do like 90-minute classes. And you can like do anything from I like to do I skip the warm up because I'm already warm at this point.
Yeah.
So I can like skip my warm up. I go right into the workout. I still have, I still go right into the stretching, and then it goes into like deep stretches at the end, and you still can like have your rest. Or you can do like more restorative, or you can do like you know, some of the other like Bikram and stuff like that, I think is on there. I can't remember. I just keep it the no warm ups. I don't play with that option often, but like that's what I like. But that for me has been like a total like lifesaver. After the pandemic, my sister told me about that app, and I'm like, I went to one yoga studio since, and I liked it. It was good, but it was just like the convenience
of doing it like on your own personal time. Like sometimes it's like we have like 10 minutes here that we couldn't actually drive to a gym or drive to a yoga class or whatever. It's like I could just do this in my house. I started doing wall Pilates because of that.
Oh, wall Pilates? I've never heard of wall Pilates.
I like YouTube.
Oh, I think I saw something the other day, and someone was like, and her like arms were jacked.
I'm like, that's what I want to look like. Like, but like that's, I mean, you can find like the 10-minute ones, the 20-minute ones, whatever your time level is, and you do it like on your own wall at your house or whatever, and it's like super easy. I mean, that's not easy to do, but like it's like convenient because you don't have to go to a gym.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I know. Look it up. See, I told you, you inspire me to like find things like interesting and cool. So how did like this DO person like help you? Like how did they?
Oh yeah. So she did a lot of like little adjustments, and so instead of like a chiropractor where they just go in and they just like rack and stack you, like she like it was like, okay, you kind of put your and then it's like slow like movements.
Yeah.
It kind of, I don't know if you ever heard like Feldenkrais before. So it's like this. It's kind of Feldenkrais is like. It's I feel like older people do it, but I did it like when I was like younger, like in my and it's like
just like I'm an old soul, it's fine.
I'm always the young, like whenever I've done workout classes, I'm always like the youngest person there. And then I thought like, oh cool, like I'm in my 30s now, I'm like, and it's still not that way. Like I'm like, why
am I still the youngest?
Why I feel like anything I do, I'm always like the youngest person. But like you just. Like, let's say, like, it's, like, turning your head to the right. Like, you would turn your head, it's to the left or whatever. You turn your head to the left, just slightly. And then, like, you turn back. And then you're going to do it slightly again, but you're going to go just a little bit further. And then, like, you just kind of do that, like, a couple times. I don't know. It's been so long since I did it. I'm probably describing it bad. Yeah. But it's, like, movements like that. And that's what it kind of was. The adjustment to the DO is more gentle.
Like, pushing things back. So, like.
Yeah. So you're easing it in. So you're not just, like. And I've been to the chiropractor, and I felt like it didn't last as long.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like chiropractor, like this is going to sound terrible, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not trying to bash it, but like I feel like they're like a pop and crack, see you in 2 weeks because you need to come back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I like that because first of all, I don't want to have to come back, but like second of all, like did it not work? Like, what happened that I have to like I don't know
come back? Yeah. I did have to come back more frequently at first when I was like. Getting readjusted because my body was so used to being in that that position that she had to really and it's like it's wild like the things that she would like have my like hand behind my head and she would like go like this and she would like pull me and it's like you don't feel like you're doing anything and then it was like you'd be so sore but like they're moving you just right
to just start like releasing a little bit of that like tension and
they'd even like have you lay down and they pull on your feet and
so that's almost like a if massage and like chiropractor had a baby kind of thing like kind of moving those muscles like in a soft slow like methodical way but like also I'm realigning you
and it's your bones and stuff
that's
so
interesting
that was a huge lifesaver and then just going back and getting active again so I don't do that it's it's not fun. One thing she did say to me to do is when I'm doing keratin applications, to like take a break sometimes and like just put my arms up, like
just reach for the sky.
Yeah, or even like kind of like put against like a door frame and kind of have that resistance back on your arms with them up in the air because otherwise like you're just kind of freezing that shoulder.
Yeah.
And then like even just like the twisting and stuff that can also affect your spine as well. So, as stylists, we do need to like, obviously this is our job and these are things that we have to do, but we need to be doing things outside of work that are going to help
during work.
Yeah. So that way we're almost like undoing what we did to ourselves
yeah.
all day long. Because
what I think like to that point also like setup is important.
Yeah.
Like where you're placing your things like within your reach or whatever.
Yeah.
So we aren't necessarily like reaching behind or whatever all the time. Like maybe like reach forward or to the side. Like change it up even, and it might be a little uncomfortable at first, but And yeah, like working out afterwards, I feel like obviously that's a huge thing. Like, I think way more of us need to do. Like,
If
totally speaking to the choir.
If I have like keratin application, like all day, especially if I have like 2 in a week, I'm like doing like longer yoga sets.
Yeah.
I mean, I love like lifting and stuff like that and jump roping and all that too. But like that for me is like what keeps me like flexible. And I feel like too, getting accustomed with that, and like you're so aware of your body and what's wrong with it when you're like, so now I feel like I'm a little bit more like, oh, hey, I'm not doing this. Like I need to be like, you know, I like this, my shoulder feels off. I need to work out. And I kind of like got all that jet noise.
I know, yeah. I was like, I don't know if y'all can hear this, but there's like serious jets over, but we're close to the base, though.
Yeah, we hear that happens a lot over here.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Anytime now. Thank you. So then, like, how do you like see our industry changing with all of this in mind? Like, what do you foresee for our future?
I mean, I think there's a lot more health conscious stuff out there. Not just like in our products. I think that's, which is a trend that I'm like very excited about, is, you know, we are, you know, trying to go more clean, go away from things that have known carcinogens and stuff like that, because that's also too like huge to your health. But also like as stylists, like we need to be as stylists, and I feel like like salon owners in general too need to be like, okay, finding like healthy environments for their stylists. Like, of course, you have our mats and stuff, you know, but I'm a short stylist, and I've always worked at tall salons. So like not tall salons, but like the salon owners were tall. And so like when I got into my own suite, I was like, I want a short chair. Yeah. Like, and then,
and guess what? You can pick that. Yeah. Like, they actually make those.
Yeah. And Kristen that works with me, when I bought her the same chair that I have, like she's taller than me, and I was like, oh no, we need to get you. And so now she's a taller chair now, because I wasn't thinking, I was like, oh, they'll just match and they'll be perfect. But I was like,
that's not gonna work.
No, that doesn't work for her. Like, it's not okay. So I think like, obviously, like, you know, there is a revolving door of stylists. So like things like that aren't always practical for a salon owner to be like, you know, purchasing new chairs and things like that. But like, you know, just also just having things available. Like, I'm at this point, I'm not ashamed to stand on a stool to do somebody's hair. Like, because when your arms are up here, like you're going to hurt your back, and it may not hurt as you're doing it, but it will hurt, you know,
long term. Yeah. All the things that you're doing to your body like add up.
Yeah. And I think, you know, Instagram is great because you see some people, you know, posting things like that on there. Like, you know, they have like a little platform so they can stand. It's like a shorter style can stand on. You know, like the saddle chairs. I utilize those a lot because sometimes, you know, like I'm not like, it like pains my back when I see stylists like bend over to like do something, and I'm like, and their back is hunched, and I'm like, no, sit down, or like get on your knees like for a minute, like do something that's going to like get your body in a position that's going to be comfortable and overall healthier for you.
Yeah, the ergonomics of everything that we do, even like wrist and things like that, the way we cut or whatever, like the ergonomics like obviously have a huge play in what we do. And like cutting and blow drying and stuff, that's more wrist action. But guess what? Your wrist is connected to your arm, which is connected to your shoulder, which is connected to your, like, so all of these things eventually like end up having to like, I don't know, like coagulate together or whatever. Like, maybe that's a bad word, but like, like, and it all affects your whole body system. Speaking of wrists and all of, you know, like that, I worked with Michael O'Rourke when I was younger, who is big, sexy hair, and he invented the angles in motion cutting, which, I mean, none of it, you're not bending your wrist, and all of it's all ergonomics. Even like he had like, and I guess I remember at my salon in Colorado, they would kind of like laugh at me because he almost like it's like a power stance or whatever, the way you stand when you do hair, and it's just like how I was trained learning that. But it was just so that way I could be at the right height and my body could be facing the right direction. Like sometimes you have to look like a sumo wrestler.
You're like,
you know, like you're like,
I'm ready for this.
But it works because of the way your body is then positioned in front.
Yeah. So you can be aligned with your work and be able to protect your body. And obviously, like, I still get injuries and stuff, and I, you know, it's always a thing that you have to work on. There's no perfect way to do it, but you have to get that like in touch with your own, your body and what it tells you it needs, so you can give it what it needs.
Mm-hmm. Like being intentional, just like recognizing that this is going to be a problem, maybe not today or tomorrow, but like longer term is going to be an issue. And then just being intentional about like actually like what can I do now to help prevent, not that it's going to be a foolproof whatever, but like help prevent, this from happening in the future. Or if it does happen in the future, maybe it wouldn't be quite so bad.
Right. Yeah.
That like all of a sudden like your whole body's like completely misaligned. It's like, we have to like Gumby you back together or whatever. So
you don't want to have to be getting carpal tunnel surgery or
some like all the rotator cuff.
That's one of the things I remember learning too in my mentorship is shampooing with your arms. Like, just things like that. Like, you don't want to shampoo with your fingers. Like, you're gonna wear these little guys out. Like
get in there with the motion of your arms.
Like anytime that you can save your hands from your fingers doing that, like you're exhausting them. And do things that are going to save your body long term. So I would definitely say that to like younger stylists. And also eat.
Y'all eat.
And not just like eat like McDonald's or like
DoorDash, like Taco Bell or whatever.
Right. Like all those things are, good.
Like salads are healthy.
Proteins. I know. I have my drawer of meat sticks.
Oh my god! Like a whole thing of meat sticks.
We're right next to a Trader Joe's, so I just walk over there and stock up on my meat sticks. But like things that are actually gonna like fuel your body, because if you're just running on like iced coffee and like a donut, like you are gonna crash.
Which is like the whole hairstylist meme, right?
Oh like that's what we do. It's
that whole meme.
Yeah, and like I've been there, done that. Like got the T-shirt. It's not a good one.
No, it's tattered and torn. Obviously, like our bodies at this point. Yeah, I mean, definitely invest in the foods and the water. Like we both actually have our water, but like she makes me drink more water too. Like you're always carrying water around, so like I try to fill that sucker up at least 4 times and just like drink water. I mean, it's one of the
it's hard. Oh yeah, I struggle.
Makes me happy.
It's hard.
Water is not my friend. I don't love it. I'd rather drink wine or something. But like, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, water is extremely, obviously your body is a lot of water. So
that's one thing I do when I'm like, I try to do, I don't always I'm good at this, but if I'm like doing a keratin application, I'm like, okay, anytime you finish a row, take a sip.
Maybe set goals for yourself as you're like cutting or blow drying or whatever. Like, okay, I got that round brush. Okay, let me just take a sip or whatever.
And it just becomes like part of your routine of doing hair. Like, okay, I finished this. Like, all right, I put my beads in for my weft, take a sip. So my
weft
done, take another sip. And then that way you're not just like having to like chug water at some point, and like, because sometimes at the end of the day I can see it. Like I'll have like the little like dimples in your face, and you're dehydrated, and you don't want
like you haven't peed in like 4 days.
Like that I am guilty of. like that. Oh, just ask Kristen. I get to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Like you just gotta go.
And it happens often. Like because I won't go.
Because all of a sudden you have to drink all of that to like replenish, and then you're like, oh crap. Like
yeah. And it's just. I get working and I don't want to stop. And but
I think that's a whole part of like, self-care though, that we've been talking about like this whole time is like, we have to do these little things to like make sure that our body is functioning the right way inside and out. So random question, like what piece of advice would you give like up and coming like students, like cosmetology students or up and coming stylists? Like what would like one huge important piece of information you would give them?
As far as like this topic in general or anything?
Oh, anything.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
Try everything.
Try everything.
Try everything.
Okay.
When I started doing hair in 2010, like you had to do everything because the economy has collapsed.
Yeah.
And you couldn't turn anybody away. It was, it was, a period of starvation. So we had to like take every single client that we could. I lived in Michigan. I got hit really hard with that. And I feel like because of that, it has made me a more well-rounded stylist, which has made me better with extensions because I understand how a whole head of haircut works. Like from doing, I used to do a ton of men's cuts. Now I don't really do any.
Yeah.
I've done eyelashes. I've done brows. I've done like perms. I've done all of the things, so I know what I don't like, but I have that foundation, and if I was ever thrown in a situation, I can either say, yeah, no, that's not for me, or like, I can do it. And I feel like just being fearless, and like so many young stylists come out of school now with this anxiety. They don't want to mess things up. Well, you're going to mess things up. Like,
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Like, we all make mistakes. Even if you've been doing hair for like 20, 30 years, you still will make a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what? That person asked for this and you actually gave them that. Whoops. I mean, that just, it happens.
Communication.
Like,
and you know, and also learning, like, you know, you are going to mess something up.
Yep.
Like, it is, you know, there's communication where, you know, you might not, there's this, you know, misunderstandings, but then there's also like, yeah, I didn't have the proper tools for this, but you know what? Now I know. And like, it sucks that it happened to somebody, but it's going to happen. So like, don't stifle yourself because of that fear. When people hold themselves back because they're so afraid to try the, like, you know, try that haircut or try that color, they put themselves in these boundaries, and then they never excel to like
a better level.
Where they're meant to be. So just try everything.
Don't miss out on the potential.
Like, you know, don't be like, oh, I don't want to do men's cuts. Like, I don't care. Like, do a men's cut.
I'm like that too. Like, I always just say, oh, I don't want to do a balayage. Like, I hate the idea of balayage because I'm an old school foiler, you know.
I love foils.
Like, I do too. Like, foils are my jam. But like, it's a balayage that like freaked me out. Like, freaked me out. And like, finally I was like, okay, I did an online class because I was like, I know I'm going to like flub this up. But so I did. And I was like, okay, well, at least I know. Like, at least I know.
Exactly.
Like, and maybe I'll never use it. And I really don't.
No,
I really don't use it, but I know, like, so when somebody comes and says, I want this look, like, I actually know the difference of like what a balayage would look like versus a foil versus whatever. Like, so at least having that knowledge and that, you know, capacity, and you touched on that early on too, of like, you know, knowing and taking all the education, so you know how to like pull whatever out of the hat. So,
I think it's just so important. Try it all, take all the education.
Don't limit yourself.
Because you don't, you know, you may have like this idea, like, I want to be an extension specialist, or I want to be, you know, a lived in color specialist, whatever. Like, you have to like develop a passion for that. And I feel like in order to develop a passion, you really have to like try and experience other things and experience what you don't like. Because like, when I came back here and I was working in a salon, you know, just to like make money, I was like, I'll take whoever at this point. And I was cutting hair and I was like, you know what? I don't like this like I used to. But you know what? Like, but because I know how to cut hair, like, I can blend the heck out of extensions. And I'm comfortable with that. And I can, you know, I feel comfortable doing whatever comes my way with extensions. But I had to do a lot of bad hair that stays there. And I think that's important.
Try everything. Cool. Awesome. Well,
cool.
I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing your space
thank you
with
for coming
me.
here. I know I like threw a whole wrench in today.
No, it's all good. No, I love it. And thank you for showing me your new space. This is brand new for her, so I love this. Yay. This is really cute.
Yeah, it's coming together.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Caitlin. If you ever want to check her out on Instagram, it's Siren Stylist. I'll put that in the link in the description below. And yeah, you can always reach out if you have any questions if you're in the Virginia Beach area, and say hi to her. So, Siren Stylist.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Salon Edition Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Salon Edition Podcast and watch these episodes on the Babe Hair Extensions YouTube channel. This podcast is hosted in part by Babe Hair Extensions, and if you are a stylist, head on over to babehairextensions.com for all of your extension needs. We'll see you next time.